Fantasy Football Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet Sky FF, the show. Oh, fuck. Try again.
I'm keeping that in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet Sky FF, the weekly show where James and I discuss Sky Fantasy Football. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. And yourself?
Yeah, can't complain. It was a reasonable week in the old Sky Fantasy Football world for me. Reasonable, I think. 94 points yourself.
Oh, more. 110.
110. You made 3 transfers.
But with 3 transfers, yes.
I made 2 transfers. One worked out horrendously and one was okay. But 94 points gave me a rank rise of 2,000 up to 14k now. And I'm consistently just chipping away with a strategy of where I want to get to come this double game week that's around the corner. And then the overhaul. What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Tell me.
What worked? Well, bits and bobs. It was obviously a decent week. Yeah, probably what I should do in the first instance is clarify what I went for in terms of my transfers.
Yes.
So after captaining Dean Henderson on Friday night for a nice 18-pointer, I made a move on the Saturday, which was very left field and wasn't even on my radar till I started looking at it on Friday night. Yep. And I went for Bernd Leno of them lot down the road.
Okay.
I thought I'd leave the pause of silence just so people could pick their chins back up. There was some theory behind this. One being, okay, for an immediate gain, they're walking into Palace away. We did Clash of the Correspondents Thursday with at 3-5 who, and the general feeling was that could actually be a clean sheet on the board here for Arsenal. And it was thinking ahead when trying to look at how to best manoeuvre in Liverpool assets, for me, as I only have Van Dijk currently before the Wolves fixture, that led me towards Leno. And the reason for that as well is the final game week before the overhaul, which obviously we can now include into our planning, is they play Burnley away on the Sunday.
Yep.
Now, as it stood, the only asset I had for that Sunday was Kevin De Bruyne. Absolutely fine. But moving on, Kevin De Bruyne potentially, once they've played Sheffield United next Tuesday, allows me quite a little bit more financially. And I could, with De Bruyne away to Spurs and Leno away at Burnley, I might just go, hands up, this isn't ideal, but I'll captain Leno.
Okay.
Burnley are shocking at the moment as well anyway.
Yep.
Also, the other fixtures being Sheffield United at home. Sheffield United blanked in the last 2 away from home, and they were quite easy fixtures at Manchester City and Liverpool, respectively. And Chelsea's home form, who Arsenal also go to next midweek, has been iffy. Obviously, at time of transfer, they'd had several blanks in home games before beating Burnley themselves and keeping a clean sheet on the Saturday just gone. So Leno came in for a whopping 2 points. But it's all about, could he potentially do something for me on that final Sunday in the Burnley game? And it will be an alternative to so many others.
Yep.
On Sunday, I moved on 2 players. One who returned for me on Saturday, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, clean sheet and passing bonus, incredibly, against Norwich. It was about the right time.
Yep.
And I moved Wan-Bissaka onto Ismaila Sarr.
Yep.
Get me some extra funds in the bank. And I moved Dele Alli on to Jack Grealish. Now that has left me in a position with 4.9 million in the bank. My good returners at the weekend, 10 points VVD, 16 from Kevin De Bruyne as captain on the Sunday fixture, 10 from Vardy in the Saturday fixture, 18 for Marcus Rashford, didn't captain, 12 from Tammy Abraham, didn't captain.
And your Henderson on the Friday night as well. Yeah.
That front three, I did say last week, it could be the revenge of the guys who've not gone for Liverpool this week.
Yes.
And I think that's what it was a little bit. However, the gains didn't feel as great as they perhaps should have been, particularly, I guess, for people like myself who didn't take gamble on the 2 weeks of, say, Aguero, for example.
Yeah, that was the biggest
Riyad
regret
Mahrez
from the weekend.
For me, it was too much indecision on the team and just knowing, well, KDB will sit there as captain and it's fine. I couldn't see the logic in firing in Aguero personally with no knowledge on team, considering he and Jesus had not played in the League Cup semi-final tie the week before. Obviously, Wish I'd done it.
Yeah, look, hindsight. If hindsight was a real thing, fuck,
Well, yeah.
So I'm similar to you. I had Henderson captain on Friday night, which was a nice 18 points. I had Baldock as well for another 7, so that was really
You
tidy.
went Henderson.
Yeah,
Good
I
man.
went Henderson in the end. I mean, it was a couple of pips and difference, but I did do that. Closely followed by, I also had Kevin De Bruyne on the Sunday returns. Aubameyang returned but didn't with his stupid red card.
And he was your Saturday captain.
He was my Saturday captain.
Did you tweet about it pre-red card by any chance?
Did. I moved it from Sadio Mane, so ultimately I'm not going to complain because it's more points than I would have done. But it feels like a weekend of what could have been. I made 2 transfers. One was moving on Aubameyang after he's obviously going to miss a couple of games now.
You didn't go Aguero, did you?
No, I went Sterling. Sterling over Aguero, thinking that he hasn't played, so do you know what I mean? We're in the same boat there. And I moved on Martin Kelly for Ismail Lassar. I thought he's got a couple of good fixtures for him. Strangely thinking that Spurs at home is a good fixture.
Obviously, Sarr did assist.
Yeah. Got me a return. Well. So it's a decent from him. And it set me up with, whilst you've got 4.9 million in the bank, I've got 4 million in the bank.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know if we're playing this game right, James, because you've made 3 transfers. I've made 2.
Yep.
And we didn't bring in a single Liverpool player between us.
Yep.
This is bizarre.
But then unless we were going to bring in Liverpool defensively for Sheffield United because we'd had spare, there wasn't gains to be made on this particular game.
No, I understand that.
My thinking behind Sarr and Grealish, Sarr was fairly straightforward at the price at 6.5 with the form. Spurs, Villa and Everton, the first and last of those 3 fixtures at home before the overhaul. And obviously Villa away at the moment is absolutely fine. And obviously there was the Bournemouth fixture. And Grealish, although obviously City was tough as hell, I look at their 3 before the overhaul, Brighton, Watford, Bournemouth, and think, well, he's the talisman there, and he, as I've said so often, right. If Villa perform well, even if he doesn't return, he might well pick up the man of the match and that.
Yeah.
So was happy to do that, and it saved me the funds. The only other one I really considered was Todd Cantwell, and I'll come on to him a little bit because there's a little bit of, I wish I'd just done that and not taken the gain on the game and looking at Cantwell this week against Bournemouth. But those 2 have both got good fixtures as well, right?
So what's your plan this week? Any transfers? Or are you going to wait till the double game week as it rolls around?
I might have to make one as early as tomorrow.
Because?
And the reason for that being is I might be looking at 6 transfers to build up for Liverpool at Wolves. Now, you can only make, and this is really important for new players, just in case it's passed you by, because it very nearly passed me by in my planning. You can only make 5 transfers in one game week. The game week runs from Friday to Thursday.
You've got 1 Liverpool player at the moment, Van Dijk.
I have 1 in Van Dijk.
And all 6 that you'll be bringing in will be Liverpool?
It would only be 5 Liverpool. I would need another one to move funds a little bit more to kill into it. And I think it opens up a discussion of how I might go about doing this, because I haven't decided yet anyway. I might just make the 4. I might make 5 for a slightly different route for what I really want for the power 5 Liverpool players that I want to go with Van Dijk. And I think you can guess who they are. TAA, Robbo, Salah, Mane and Firmino. I would need to make a 6th transfer. Now, if I'm going to do that and take that route, I have to make one of those transfers now, on Thursday.
Yeah, before the deadline.
Correct.
So
that is probably ethically very un-Sky planning.
Well, before Manchester United at home, it's not an ideal time that you want to get a Liverpool player in.
That fixture wouldn't bother me. It's just, for me and the assets that I'd be potentially looking to move on, they've all got pretty good midweek fixtures. And that's more the issue as well. So instead of, okay, I could go one now, but then I've got no gain on fixture in the immediate. The Wolves game almost cancels itself out a little bit. So whichever gain I go early, I'm not getting a gain on as such. So there's going to have to be one move, if I take that route, that goes early and there's no gain on it.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting as well.
And of course, if you pick up an injury or something as well,
screwed.
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah. I have no intentions of going as mental as you do in terms of getting players in.
Okay.
And I haven't yet fully figured out which fixtures I'm going to keep and not keep. But Raheem Sterling will be leaving for Mo Salah. And Mason...
Just got him in.
Yeah, I know. It's not ideal, but
No, I know. You got him in for the Villa and Palace,
Mason Mount will be leaving for Virgil van Dijk, and I will take the extra Liverpool fixture with just Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, and Mane. I'm not going to go any
You're
more
going
than
to
that.
go 4.
Yeah, 4's plenty for me. I don't see any reason why I want to get rid of any of the other players based on the fixtures that they've got. So 4 is going to be enough for me, and I'd rather hold back the extra transfers. You're talking about burning 6. I'm talking about 2 here. The only concern is obviously at the moment Marcus Rashford's got an injury, but I don't expect that to be an issue, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'll go in with 4, and that'll be plenty for me.
It'd be nice if I get some news on Thursday that he's out for a couple of weeks. Made the decision very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hold on to Rashford for that Burnley fixture next Wednesday, because I think I might well captain him next Wednesday night.
Yeah, I just need to.
Although, as I said previously to the Norwich game, like if I don't captain him, he'll bang.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have his points and not captain him than captain him and he flops.
Yeah. What's your 4 or 5 point strategy then?
So I've got 4.9 million in the bank. Now, moves I'm considering are Pereira to Alexander Arnold. These would all be pre-Wolves as opposed to pre-Man United, really.
That's the Leicester Pereira, for clarity.
Correct, yes, obviously. Kevin De Bruyne to Andrew Robertson. I've got 4 in midfield at the moment, 3 at the back, so that's fine. Vardy to Salah, Rashford to Mane, Abraham to Firmino. It leaves me 1.1 short.
You're getting an extra 1 fixture. It's a lot of transfers for one game.
No, it's an extra 2.
Because they play on the Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it is.
They play West Ham, right?
Yeah.
So I get them in all on the Thursday once I know the team lineup. Then you've got the Wolves fixture, you've got the West Ham fixture, and then on the Saturday after you've got the Southampton fixture. And it's worth noting, obviously, in my case, there's a few Leicester-Chelsea assets in there. They're playing each other. So it's not a brilliant fixture. So to move off some, sort of Pereira, Abraham, and just miss that Leicester-Chelsea game feels okay to me, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm gaining Liverpool. I know Southampton are doing very, very well at the moment, but you can never look beyond Liverpool in a fixture at Anfield, right?
No.
Or in any fixture anyway at the moment. So those are the 5 that I would like to make. I would be 1.1 million short of that. The additional transfer that I would consider, and it's the most likely one if I take this route that I think I would make this Thursday, is Mason Mount to Todd Cantwell.
To give you more money.
That would allow me the money to do the 5 Liverpool. Mm-hmm. Mount goes to Newcastle this week. Cantwell plays Bournemouth. Next midweek, Mount has Arsenal, Cantwell at Tottenham. But then is it a case of just look at that and go, do you know what? That doesn't matter because it's what I'm getting off the 5 Liverpool guys. Is that more the thing here?
I don't know is the honest answer, James, because we're just figuring this game out.
This is one of the reasons why I ended up going with that Leno for the Sunday. Believe it or not, I actually spent Friday night looking at Burnley assets, as ridiculous as it sounds, just to see if there was something I could force in. But, just so I had a Sunday captain and it didn't feel right. Whereas Leno and the fixtures, pre-Palace, kind of did feel okay, actually. And that's why I took that route. Plus, there was the gain on the fixture coming off of Dean Henderson. So I've got a lot of thinking to do. I think the one that will surprise the listeners is the idea of trying to force Firmino in.
The additional extra.
We looked
extra
at
one.
obviously his record in fixtures in away games this season. It could just be purely coincidental. We looked at it on our main podcast on Monday night, and he just shows up so well. I'd love to, and I feel like for me, he would be such a mass differential. He's the one who's going to maintain the really low ownership through this, I think, because the majority are just going to go
With
Salah,
the others,
Mane, or Salah and Mane. I don't think many people are going to be thinking go Firmino as well. The only other Liverpool player I think you could consider once it comes round, and it's worth saying we will record again before the final decisions have to be made if they're going to be pre the Wolves game next Wednesday, is obviously Joe Gomez. Joel Matip is fit, which just makes that damn ass scary.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think even if you saw he was going to play against Wolves, it would still worry me about the West Ham and Southampton fixtures afterwards. So I think those are the choices. And obviously Alisson is obviously another potential alternative. But for me, having gone Leno I've decided not to take that route. Alisson at 8 million is, if you can power that in, like, do it. I have no problems with that.
Get it done.
Yeah. So it's the three defenders, the three forwards, and the goalkeeper. That's what we're looking at. There's no. I've looked at the Hendersons, Wijnaldums, even Fabinho if he's back fit. It's not worth it.
Yep.
Go with the big guys or don't go at all.
So let's do some Twitter questions.
Yep.
And the Twitter questions will cover some of the regular stuff that we do talk about.
Okay.
Starting with our friend Dan Cox. Next 5 captains for you based on your current setup.
Can I just say, I haven't listened to Sunday's Fantasy Football Hub podcast yet. If there's not a shout out on there, Dan Cox, I'm telling you, mate, that we're going to be having some words after the plug I gave you last week. Next 5. Good question.
Yes, I'll start.
Well, we can run through captains. I think all the way up to.
Well, it's 5 fixtures.
Let's go all the way to next Thursday now, as it would stand.
Well, they can all be set as of Friday. So
Saturday will be who for you?
Raheem Sterling, Crystal Palace at home. Risky, I know, because he didn't play. Kevin De Bruyne's a safe option, but I'm going Raheem Sterling.
I will be Kevin De Bruyne.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aguero will be the best shout. Just think, no reason for him not to play again. I don't
smash another hat trick
with the week break. If you've got him and you've gone that way, I think it's one, and it's worth saying. Like, if you didn't go in before the Villa game, it's gone.
Yep.
Don't power in for this. It will sound self-explanatory, but it's just not worth it now.
Sunday, the 19th of January for you is
Vardy, but there'd be a temptation to do Van Dijk because, what's Van Dijk? Is it 5 or 6 consecutive 10-point hauls now?
I'm going to go Sadio Mane.
He is constantly 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's 6 in a row, 6 10-pointers. You'd take that over 6 weeks, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's Man United this time round, and you did say that you think Man United will score.
Yeah,
so,
I do.
I'm going with Sadio Mane. I can see if I owned Vardy, I'd probably go Vardy. I will
be going Jamie Vardy. But it's the solidity of Van Dijk that even if he concedes, you do know it's going to be 5. It's almost a certainty that it will hit that tier 2 passing.
Tuesday the 21st for you.
Well, the benefit, obviously, with that one as well is on this occasion, we would know the City team.
Yeah.
So if De Bruyne is starting at Sheffield United, I would probably go that way. My fullback would be, and I think I'll have better fullbacks than most, would be Tammy Abraham against Arsenal.
My main option there is Raheem Sterling. That will be the last fixture that will be in my team. And my fullback, if he's not in there, would actually be Ismail Sarr away at Aston Villa.
Yeah, not bad.
I don't like the Arsenal Chelsea fixture. I suppose Kevin De Bruyne is another fullback as well, but if the first 2 match days go well, then I might actually fancy Ismail Sarr in that. Then we've got the Wednesday games for you, Jamie Vardy again.
So it's Vardy against West Ham, Rashford against Burnley. Obviously, if for any reason you go back to Sun Saturday or something, or had done for the Liverpool game or something, I don't see how you probably would have. Sun would come into consideration for that particular night, I would say. I would probably at the moment lean Rashford against Burnley.
My armband is on Rashford right now as well.
Interesting.
And then the Thursday for me is Sadio Mane.
Burnley fans will be loving this, isn't it? Vardy Sunday, Rashford Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thursday, well, that's an interesting one. We can obviously cover this a bit more next Wednesday. But I think, assuming I will at least get the big hitters, I would go Sadio Mane at Wolves.
That's my armbands on Sadio Mane right now. So, yeah, for me, it's Sterling, Mane, Sterling, Rashford, Mane. Keep it simple. Rotate it around the 3 strikers. And after the Tuesday game, I'll probably bin off Sterling for Mo Salah.
I know I said there could be a bit of catch-up for those who'd not gambled early on the Liverpool assets. I really think that Wednesday night could be a catch-up as well with Vardy, Rashford. If people have already gone sort of the Salah Mane double and don't have
the cover there.
I'm sure the majority would have probably left themselves Vardy. I would have thought, but it's a good one for Rashford. And in hindsight, I probably really should have taken the gamble on Rashford. I mean, statistically, etc., everything, it made more sense than Vardy and Southampton's improved form. Just a lack of trust in Manchester United, but Norwich are one of these sides are a bit more open rather than just kind of sit off deep. It doesn't seem to matter what Burnley are trying at the moment. They're just on an atrocious slide.
Let's talk about Virgil van Dijk, the Blue City. At the Blue City wants to know if he's a must-own in this game. Looking that way a little bit. I'm looking forward to getting him in after the United game. I may even get him before. Who are Chelsea playing? They're playing Newcastle, aren't they?
Chelsea at Newcastle this week. Arsenal at home Tuesday night.
Yeah, I may, after the Newcastle game, make a move to get VVD in because that will give me that extra little fixture.
Van Dijk's ownership, very surprisingly, in the top 1,000, and this will sound ridiculous, is only 56.5%. I actually think that's low. Of the Liverpool guys, I would prefer him now to Alexander-Arnold because now, obviously, yes, the clean sheets are coming, but he is consistently, there was a spell where it wasn't always happening. He is consistently now every week again hitting the tier 2 for passing.
Yeah. Hornet FPL, just over halfway through your first Sky season, how are you finding it? What's your best and worst parts of the game? Would you change anything?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to make 6 transfers next week.
I think overall it's really good. I'm enjoying it. It's taken a little bit of time to warm up into it. The worst part of the game is this bugginess of setting your captains, because I've had a couple of weeks where I've not had a captain. I think the tech behind it could be improved massively. And the game's that big, like they're giving away 50 grand to whoever wins it or whatever. They could use 50 grand on just upgrading the tech a little bit. So that's a little bit annoying, but apart from that, no. I mean, you know what would be nice? Just kind of set and forget. So if you didn't set your captains for the following week, you just took whoever your last captain was.
The habit to get
those
into
kind of things
is every morning there's a game day, do check it. And I would say especially on a Friday, if there's a Friday night game, do have a double check, because obviously that's the week refresh, if you will.
Yeah,
that seems to be one that's causing people a few issues, maybe.
Yeah,
where I don't know where the game's refreshing. It seems odd that sometimes your captain sticks for one day and it doesn't for an. I get it.
I find it weird as well where
bugs are frustrating.
Like I'll go in after a previous week, and if there's 3 game days, one of my captains will be set and the other 2 won't for some reason. I don't understand why it does that, but those are just little technicalities.
Every day there's a game check, and every day there's you'll make any time you make a transfer. For example, if unusually, like I might be making a transfer on Thursday, check.
Lee Williams, how are you? SkyFF _Wales is Lee's handle. We know that Sky players in Wales are big business, mate.
There's some Welsh boys who got some good fantasy records out there.
They certainly are.
They've got to be good at something, haven't they? Bless them.
Are either of you leaning towards...
No offence, lads.
Are either of you leaning towards 5 at the back, as it seems to be more effective in one of my teams than the one with the big hitters, for example? I'm going 4 at the back. I don't know about 5 yet.
I think it might feel like that right now. It's not necessarily going to feel that way when, first, and I want to call it a game week, the split weekends over the overhaul, when you've got 6 captain possibilities. I don't know if you want to back 5. Because I'm treating that as one game week. I can't see me making a transfer between that first weekend and the second one. Just can't see it off those. There's no gains on it. So for me, it's one game week with 6 captaincy possibilities. You ain't going to want to start with a back 5, I don't think. Because even the best defensive assets are at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Really. You want to captain one of them when Liverpool away to Norwich? No, I think I'd want for that fixture. I think I'd want a Mane or a Salah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So, what it feels like now is probably not as. I wouldn't think many teams would set up with a back 5 with their overhaul. I wouldn't think. 4, I can see that, like a double Liverpool and then a Pereira Ciancu if you want to keep that Leicester cover. But I think there'll be more splits because you're gonna. Obviously, the first Saturday is Everton, Palace, and Brighton, Watford, if I remember correctly. You're going to want some sort of spread in there. Even if it's one player from them 4 teams, you're going to want something. Yep.
Adam Robinson. Adam's been greedy and asked 3 questions, but we're gonna do it anyway. How are you, Adam? Does everyone use all of their transfers before the last game of the season? Asking as it's my first season.
That's a great question, actually.
I have no idea.
That's a great question.
The last day, the difference obviously with the last day of the season is that everybody plays
I tell you
on the
what,
same
I
day.
tell you what would
So
tempt
there's
me.
no fixture gains there, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But I tell you what might tempt me on that. I probably wouldn't leave more than one.
No, I'm with you on that.
But there's a couple of things worth saying. One is obviously, I'm going to use an FPL term here, sorry, double game week 37. There will be midweek fixtures before the final match day 38, if you will. So you might have a heap of players that you wanted for a double or a few players that you definitely don't want for that final game week. I'd say the one that is worth holding on for, and I say this from experience from a couple of times, is if the golden boot's still up for grabs.
Yep.
Because we've seen, like, we didn't play Sky last year, but I took a -8 in FPL to like get Aubameyang in for that final fixture at Burnley on the last day of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously ended up joint with it with Mane and Salah. And obviously there was the one, admittedly overtook him the game before, but Harry Kane a couple of years earlier as well when he scored 7 in the final 2 fixtures. So if that's kind of still up for grabs, that's probably worth punting in and catching. Like if someone suddenly gets right behind Jamie Vardy, I don't know if, say, an Aubameyang or Aguero, I
Danny
guess.
Ings. He's next on the list right now, mate, with 14 goals. So
Danny Ings.
No.
Amazing. We got this far into this podcast and not even spoken about him. It's mad that I think because of it, again, this is a lot of the pricing in this game. He just doesn't really come under consideration, does he? Is he 9 million, Danny Ings?
Yeah, he is. 9 million.
He can't complain at the price and what he's doing, right?
But you're not buying him.
No, might be one to look at on overhaul. I think Southampton start with a decent fixture if I'm right, but it's the same day that Liverpool play Norwich, I'm sure. I'm going to check that, sorry.
Adam has another question, off topic, but will you guys be doing a Telegraph podcast next year? I struggle with the deadlines they have and it confuses me and I lose interest. And there's not a lot of pods on Telegraph Fantasy Football.
No, because I think Andrew Ferguson and his pals do want to eat bread next year. So they do a Telegraph pod. It's not for me.
Yeah, I got a job, mate. So we do so many shows.
Southampton,
as it is, I think, unlikely.
Southampton play Burnley at home the same day that Liverpool go to Norwich. So it would tempt, but then you're not going to captain him over Liverpool at Norwich. I don't care. You're not.
Last question is coming in from Matt at Cheers Lowy. How does your FPL thinking affect you in Sky? Is there fear of using transfers? Is there much crossover in players or not really? I'm just looking at my team. 1, 2, 3. There are only 4 players in my Sky team that are in my FPL team right now. I think as the season has gone on, I've gotten better, and now I don't really take FPL thinking into Sky at all.
Yeah, getting there.
I think like fixtures and form and all that is just general good like planning, isn't it? Really.
The only thing I disagree with you a little bit is when quite often you said about the strategy for this game.
It's more long term.
Yeah, but then I think and maybe it's just me with the way I put my head on in terms of knowing how the blanks and doubles might manipulate further down the line. I guess I am thinking that way for FPL as well. I mean, it doesn't matter for this game, but in FPL at the moment, there's 8 teams that I wouldn't particularly consider buying a player from because they might lose a game week in 5 game weeks for the Carabao Cup final.
Yep.
And that's the sort of thing I need to think about.
We will only know at the end of the season if our transfer strategy of being a little bit more conservative has paid off or hasn't.
Nowhere known until the end. Nowhere.
And so it's still early days from that kind of point of view.
Plus, I don't think me and Suj never had a target at the start.
Well, I didn't understand. Like, everyone's saying top 1,000. Top 1,000's like
I thought that was ridiculous
incredible.
when I heard that at the start.
Yeah.
But I would expect to get it now.
There was a question, actually, a 2-part question somebody asked. What are you hoping for now? Top 1,000?
I'd love to finish top 1,000, yeah.
Yeah,
I think for first season, that's a decent bash.
I think 2.5 based on where I am right now. 2,500, I'd take that. I think I'm only maybe 30 or 40 points off being up in the top 5,000. It's not like hundreds of points. So
it's a Sergio Aguero captain, mate.
Exactly, and that was a real toss of a coin was Aguero or Sterling, and didn't do it. So one of those will hopefully come in between now and the end of the season.
What's your rank now?
14k.
Okay. I had a decent jump out of 5.5k.
Up to 5.5k. Yeah, not bad at all. How many points are you on overall?
1,660. You didn't expect me to answer that question so quickly, did you?
No, because
you're not ready to give
you're
your answer.
58 points ahead of me, and that's the best part of 9,000 places. So, one or two
the best
decent
part
captains.
of a Sergio Aguero
Captaincy.
Yes,
there you go.
can make this up. The problem is, for those of us chasing, we got to hit all of those. I mean, to really push for the stars. But I think, anyone in the top 1,000 still got a very realistic shot of
making it happen.
I think one concern would be, in terms of trying to chase, is from an overhaul perspective. Once that's done, I'm probably going to need to be quite patient again for a while, I think. Because that's then going to be my advantage again is later on, because I think a lot of people's overhauls will end up very templatey.
Yeah.
More so than game week 1, right? We've got different opinions then. Now we've got 23, 24 odd games to know where we're at data-wise. A lot of people's overhauls with the same budget are going to be very, very similar.
There we go. Another week of Sky FF. Next week's going to be a big one with 5 match days all to work around and manoeuvre. And we'll be coming at you on Wednesday in the middle of the game week and the match days. Interesting stuff.
I'd like some car crash stuff at the weekend, like Salah sent off, Mane sent off, that kind of thing.
Both of them sent off.
Nothing to do with the fact I don't own them. I mean, I do own Mane in FPL, so I'd rather not.
You're a masochist there, James.
But yeah, no, let's churn this stuff up. All those who've got the advantage on Liverpool, well done. But let's mess them up a bit.
There we go. Do tune in tomorrow for a clash of the correspondents with our Liverpool correspondent,
Liverpool
Loco Lord Dan, and we also have Gary is my cap playing joining us from a Manchester United perspective before that northwest derby
for FPL
northwest
listeners.
Derby.
He's got a very interesting what his triple captain tip would be.
Yes, he has
very
indeed.
interesting.
So do stay tuned for that, and then we'll be back at you on Friday with the final plan, where we'll run down what we're doing with our various FPL assets.
That's it.
That's it. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man. Ciao. Good luck, everybody.